Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and welcome to another another episode or video, if you like, of the AFL Gather Round match reviews. And so last time I did the match on Thursday night between the Adelaide Crows and Melbourne, of course. Melbourne coming away with that with a 15-point win. This time I want to talk about the dire. We'll talk about the dire games in the next couple of videos that happen on the Friday night. So this video will be about Brisbane and North Melbourne, and then the next game would be Port Adelaide and Essendon, which. It's fair to say, it might not be a long video. Well, it will be a long video, but most will be talking to me about Essendon. But anyways, so let's get started here. Let's get straight into it. So obviously, pre-game, Brisbane had a couple of changes. Obviously, with the big one being Darcy Gardner being out of court. He was out for a couple of weeks with that knee injury he suffered in round one again. Almost at opening round. Not actually opening round. Round one against Fremantle. So pretty much then out of the side obviously came, Darcy Ford. Obviously he was that second ruck option against Collingwood for alongside Oscar McInerney, which that could, I think that they admit that probably didn't work that well, so they axed him from the side, and there was 3 changes there for North Melbourne, obviously with Hugh from Good Friday, with Hugh Greenwood coming into the side, also Charlie Cobden, who I believe this is his first game, since breaking his leg against Melbourne last year. I think it was his first game back since breaking his leg last year against Melbourne last year. And then also Liam Shields as well was the other one that came in to the side. Of course, out of the side obviously were Toby Pink, Charlie Zaro, and obviously a forced one in Callum Coleman-Jones, who suffered that Achilles injury on Good Friday and be out for the rest of the season. The subs, for Brisbane, it was James Tunstall, and for North Melbourne, it was Liam Shields, I should say. And let's just say it didn't start well with it started perfectly for Brisbane about a minute into the match. Charlie Cameron kicked his usual goal from the boundary in the pocket to get the first goal of the game, which was great. Great for them. Of course, coming off of 3 straight losses to begin the season, it was very good to start off like that. For North Melbourne, it kind of went downhill from there, really, but I'll get to that as well. Of course, Danaher, he was at his best this night. Of course, for Joey, thing about 3 minutes into the game, he of course took a mark in the goal square. Then he snapped it around snapped around and kicked the first of his 5 goals for the afternoon, which was crazy for Joe. And then of course, about 5 minutes into the quarter, he finally had Nick Lackey having finally from 30 metres got North's first goal of the game. And then Hipwood. And Hipwood from here had a couple of looks at it. Obviously, one was put through for behind, and then he snapped one around the corner, marked one, and then he marked one from a very difficult angle in the pocket, snapped it. That went through from behind as well. They went through behind as well, and then obviously literally halfway through the first quarter, we had a traditional Joey Danaher bomb, which we came to associate with not only when he was playing at Essendon, but also now he's playing at Brisbane. So he kicked one for 55. And then North Melbourne got one back soon after for Tristan Sherry, who's become a very decent ruckman for North Melbourne actually. Not like the best ruckman up there with like the best ruckman, but good enough really for North. And then Kai Lohman, with about 6 minutes left, he saw it straight through. Marked it from 25 out and kicked it straight through in the middle to extend the margin out to 14. And then Hipwood won a free kick which was against Tristan Sherry for throwing the ball, which of course is illegal. And obviously Hipwood got his first goal for the game, which did well for the confidence. And then Dane Sorko decided to want to play some bit of soccer and soccered one through for his first goal to really extend the margin to 20 points at that stage, or 26 points rather. And yeah, it was looking rather ominous really. Then Lincoln McCarthy, he took an uncontested mark in the pocket with about under 2 minutes left. Then he kicked Truly to open margin out to 32. Then Joey from 40 meters out took the mark. Took the mark from 40 out, which went through behind, and then Kai Lohman on the siren had a chance to extend the margin to 34 or 39 points, but unfortunately kicked it out on the full. So the margin at quarter time was 33 points, 7-3 for Brisbane, played 2 straight for North. Of course, the goal kickers in that quarter were up until quarter time were Joe Danaher with a couple, and then Hipwood, Cameron, Lohman, McCarthy, and Zorko all had one apiece. So it was basically they had 6 different goal kickers in that first quarter, which was outrageous to say the least. And then the 2 sole goal kickers for North were Larkey and Sherry. The leading disposal getters on the ground at quarter time for Brisbane, of course, Lockie Neal actually dominated with 14 touches. Dunkley with 7, and then Zach Bailey and Jared Berry with 6 touches each. For North Melbourne, it's LDU with 8 disposals, and then Sheasel and Darcy Tucker with 6 touches each. So then moving on to the second quarter, again, pretty much it was all Brisbane again. Much like the first quarter, it was all Brisbane, to be honest. Not much really to go for. I mean, it was the first bit of the first quarter was all about Kai Lohman. Nicknamed Cobra because of the show Cobra Kai, obviously, on Netflix. And he even kicked a goal, and when he kicked that goal in the first quarter, he even did the double guns, so it started off pretty slowly. Of course, it wasn't until like 4 minutes into the first quarter, second quarter, I should say, for Kai Lohman to kick a goal. To kick a goal after it was, because it was obviously after a rush behind from Brisbane, kick it, and then it was a massive North Melbourne error from the kicking, which went straight to Kai Lohman, who kicked it, could slot it straight through, and then Lohman. Lohman again, like his confidence was sky high at this point. It snapped around the body, but unfortunately went through behind. Oscar McInerney, It was going so well for North that Oscar McInerney even won a free kick for holding the ball, which was against co-captain Jai Simpkin. You can tell if your captain's getting tackled by getting caught for holding the ball, if your co-captain's getting caught for holding the ball by a ruckman, you're not going too well. And for North Melbourne it wasn't, and for Brisbane it was at that point. And then Jared Berry hooked it behind from 45 out, which made the margin 7 straight kicks. Seven straight kicks, and then afterwards, Hipwood, Eric Hipwood took a contested marker on the second grab, or second attempt rather. And he put it straight through the middle for his second goal of the game. Second goal of the game. And then pretty much just a bit of lack of concentration really for North in the end. Lick and McCarthy about a minute later ended up taking a very uncontested mark inside the forward 50, which he slotted straight through the middle to make the margin 9 goals, which was looking rather ugly, to be honest with you. But yeah, Hugh Greenwood gave him the only highlight of that second, gave North the only highlight of that second quarter, with a snap through the middle from the pocket. To reduce the margin back to 8 goals. And then there was not a lot else. I mean, you had Danaher, taking mark and then missing to the left. You had Jasper Fletcher missing as well. So yeah, and then basically about under a minute left, Josh Dunkley won a holding the ball free kick against Darcy Tucker, and that kick fell short. I think it must have been about 50, from outside 50. It fell short, and then basically Darcy Gardner was in the right place at the right time and kicked his first goal for the game and extended the margin out to 56 points, which is what it remained for the remainder of the quarter. With them, of course, that was the margin at half time, obviously 11-9, Brisbane to 3-1 to North. Brisbane kicked 4 goals, 6 in that second quarter. If they would have kicked straight, probably it would have been a 10-goal margin at half time. To North's solitary small poultry 1-1-7 in that second quarter. So the goal kickers up until half time for Brisbane, Danaher, Hipwood, Lohman and McCarthy all had 2 apiece, with Cameron, Gardner and Zorko having 1 apiece. And the 3 different goal kickers from North Melbourne were Greenwood, Larkey and Sherry. At half time, the lean disposal getters on the ground for Brisbane. I mean, Lockie Neal, not surprisingly, 23 touches in that first half, just outrageous. Josh Dunkley with 17 and Hugh McCluggage with 15. And then the leading disposal getters for North Melbourne, you had Harry Sheasel with 19. LDU with 11. He only had 3. I think he only had 3 touches in the second quarter, which was poultry by his standards. And Darcy Tucker with 10 touches. Obviously, to touch on Kai Lohman, I mean, he exploded between the later stage of the first quarter and the early stage of the second quarter. He really did explode. I mean, his stats there. 12 touches, 2 goals, and also had 7 score involvements as well. So pretty insane, really, from Kai Lohman, and yeah, especially from someone who's pretty much nearly the start of his career. I think he's only played like a handful of games for Brisbane, but really glad that he was making an impact. I know it's against North Melbourne, but really glad that he was making an impact in that. Then the third quarter, North Melbourne were a little bit better in the third term. Not much opportunities as well from Brisbane, unlike the first two quarters. It really it wasn't, and then it all started, and based off, and then strange enough, it was North actually who actually had the first 4 scoring shots of the game that they involved in 2 goals and 2 behinds, and those were the only 2 goals that were scored throughout that third quarter, really, for North. I mean, Eddie Ford, who I still, which Richo said on Good Friday, had the best sideburns. I trust you to go find a vision on Good Friday of Eddie Ford and his sideburns. Oh, they just look. It just made me feel like we're going back to the 80s. Those freaking with Eddie Ford's sideburns. It was just absolutely incredible. But he marked it from 10 meters out and snapped it for his first goal to bring the margin back to 50 points. Nick Larkey marked on a tight angle, but of course snapped it across the face, and then Paul Curtis dribbled one through to reduce the margin to 43 after being 56 at half time. Everyone thought, "Oh, is this a carbon copy of the Carlton game?" But Joe Danaher, Joe Danaher, he steadied the ship with taking a good mark on the lead and then kicking straight through in the middle for his third for the game. Then Zach Bailey, hooked one across the face to bring the margin back to 50 points after one stage it looked like they dropped that after about 5 or so minutes ago it was back to 43 points. Now it's back to 50 again for North. It was basically back to square one, but it got a little bit worse after that. Then of course Hugh Greenwood, he dribbled one through behind, and then obviously Hugh McCluggage did the same thing about a minute late, about over a minute later. Then Joe Danaher, then Joe Danaher had a ball at the back and marched in Joe DeGusto of course obviously for Joe for a goal for his 4th for the game to extend the margin back to 9 goals, and then that's when Melbourne activated their sub as well with Liam Shields coming off, and Dylan Stevens coming off the ground, and on came Shields obviously. Then Zach Fisher, and of course Zach Fisher he hooked one to the far left to the far side for a behind, which cut the margin back to 55. And then young Zane Dersma, Gippy Powerboy, he won a holding the ball free kick again for running down Joe Danaher brilliantly, but unfortunately he couldn't finish off the good work with kicking a behind. And that was really it with Brisbane leading North Melbourne by 9 goals at 3/4 time, 13-11 to 5-5. Amazingly, North won that quarter, by the way. They won that quarter by only 2 points, which is a good going for them. They kicked 2-4 compared to 2-2 from Brisbane in that third quarter. But up until 3/4 time, of course, you had Joe Danaher. Goal kickers for Brisbane had Joe Danaher with 4, Hipwood, Lohman, and McCarthy with 2 each, and then Cameron, Darcy Garner, and Dane Zorko with 1 apiece. For North Melbourne, they still had no multiple goal kickers. You had Our goal kickers in Greenwood, Larkey, Curtis, Ford and Sherry. For the leading disposal getters at 3/4 time for Brisbane, you had Hugh McCluggage with 28, Lockie Neal with 27, and Josh Dunkley with 24. For North Melbourne, you had Harry Sheasel with 29. And then you go all the way down to the LDU with only 17 touches, and Darcy Tucker with 16. So Sheasel was getting a lot of the ball for North Melbourne, partly because the ball was camped out in North Melbourne's back line for most of the game. Anyways, one thing to touch on with Joe Danaher, I mean, not only with 4 goals, and also heavily getting on the scoreboard, obviously, but 6 marks inside 50. That's a massive number. I know North Melbourne are a bit depleted with terms of their key back stocks at the moment because of injuries and that, but it's really poor at the end, really, for North Melbourne, really, on that front. For Joe Danaher to get 6 marks inside 50, that's pretty insane, really, on that front there. And well, let's figure what it is. So I was quickly going through the last quarter, obviously. Cameron, because Cameron, got the first behind on the quarter. It took pretty much almost the end of the game for Joe Danaher, I believe, to kick his 5th. I think it happened with about. I think it happened with about close to the end of the game. Yeah, with about a minute, about 85 seconds left in the game, so he got his 5th there as well. Halfway through the last quarter as well, that Lockie Neal was subbed off with that. With obviously it was a precaution, obviously due to the ankle injury which he suffered against Fremantle, so he was running on limited minutes. Tun still came on for him. Charlie Cameron, got on the multiple goal kickers list during that quarter with his 2nd, almost halfway through the last quarter. And there was not a lot to cheer about basically for North. I think they said, Zane Dersma kicked the only goal of the last quarter for them. With about almost halfway through the last quarter. They kicked their only goal of the last quarter. And then obviously, Hipwood, taking a massive high flying mark, which kicked truly for his 3rd. As I said, Joe Danaher, marked, kicked and goaled his 5th to tie his mark at the last gather round against North Melbourne with 5 as well. Yeah, so yeah. And then that's pretty much how it all ended, pretty much. Brisbane came away with their first win of 2024 with a 70-point win over North Melbourne, 16-16, 112 to 6-6-42. So the leading goal kickers at the end of the game for Brisbane, of course, Joe Danaher with a bag of five for Joe. Hipwood back into form with 3. Charlie Cameron, Lohman, and McCarthy. I think I've got 2 Lohmans in here. I think someone else got 2. I can't remember. I think someone else got 2. I think I was supposed to put Lohman in there, but I was supposed to put Cameron in there, but for some reason I put I actually did put Cameron in there. I don't know if I missed someone. Now I'm gonna fact check this. I think someone else got 2. No, I was actually wrong. So I accidentally added another Lohman 2 in there. But yeah. So Lohman and McCarthy kicked 2 each, with Gardner and Zorko the 1 apiece. And no multiple goal kickers for North Melbourne. 6 different goal kickers for the day. They had Dersma, Greenwood, Larkey, Curtis, Ford, and Sherry all kicking the goals. The best on ground for Brisbane. Brisbane, of course, Hugh McCluggage. I mean, very, very, very good for Brisbane. Danaher, not surprising with his 5 goals. Lockie Neal, not surprisingly again. Zorko and Dunkley. Loman, not surprising as well with his showing that he's got massive potential in that in that Brisbane side, and Jack Payne as well. The best for North Melbourne was Harry Sheasel. Charlie Comben had a decent game, to be honest, in his first game back from his broken leg. Then you had LDU, you had Powell and Darcy Tucker as well were the best for North Melbourne. In terms of leading disposal getters on the ground, you have Hugh McCluggage with 36. You have Dunkley with 31 touches. Zorko with 28. Lockie Neal with 27 before he got subbed off as a precaution with that ankle injury. And Jared Berry with 24. The leading disposal getters for North Melbourne, not surprisingly, at the top was Harry Sheasel with 35 touches, Comben and LDU with 25 touches each. Zach Fisher with 22 and Scott with 21 touches. With the game been played in front of 9,000, just a tick over 9,000 people at the Norwood Oval, which was fantastic, really, on that front. So, and then just my last words really on this, I was not surprised really that North go to the top here in this game. I did say in my BD AFL Analyzer, if you guys watch it, go back and watch it, by the way. I did put the challenge out to Brisbane. I said if there was any game that those two, that especially the two key forwards in Danaher and Hip would get back into form, it's this game. And sure enough, they kicked 8 goals between them. So I guess that was challenge answered. Let's put it that way. As well, and then also unlikely goal kickers. You got Darcy Gardner who hasn't kicked a lot of goals. You got Dane Zorko, who's been playing that Cadeem Coleman role ever since he's gone out with that ACL injury in the opening round against Carlton in round 0. And of course you got Loman, who kicked a couple of goals early in the game. Unusual chances of goal for them, and I think they'll just grow. I think they're just one of those teams that'll just grow into the season as the year goes on, to be honest. And hopefully it's the Commons building one, which hopefully it will be, because they got a couple of tough games, this month, this next month. So so hopefully that's a bit of an omen for them as well. And well, for North, this is not surprising really, because but they did show some glimpses, but really, realistically, glimpses are just not enough at this point, to be honest. That's just not enough. I mean, yes, I know in their back line it is a bit depleted, if we know what I mean, but they got to be more competitive than that. Hopefully, this is not a sign of what's to come. Let's put it that way. Hopefully, it's not a sign of what's to come for North fans. Let's put it that way. Over the next month or so, over the next couple of months or so, for North, because they now have a massive injury list. I mean, they have a lot of players, missing the season with Achilles injuries and ACL injuries and that sort of stuff. So hopefully that's a bit of an omen for them as well. So that's the end of this video pretty much. So like this video, share this to anybody who's a North Melbourne fan or a Brisbane fan. Comment down below if you're a North Melbourne fan or a Brisbane fan. Did you like Gather Round? Well, it's obvious the answer for North Melbourne fans, but for Brisbane fans, did you like Gather Round? I know pretty much I didn't. and I'll get to that in the next video, where I'll review the Port Adelaide Essendon game, which was, yeah, let's not talk about that. We'll wait till then. But yeah, so yeah, and one last thing, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. Until next time, guys, I will see you all later.